Valentine's Love Bloom, Episode 2 of 2, by the Tailor of Love, a StoryDoves Romantics production. Part 5. May 14th, Eden Anniversary. The gent and his girl were in Eden. He desires to know whether she is the right person for marriage. In Eden, the grass is a living olive mousse. There are deer sculpted from clear oasis water. With each step, these deer leave behind butterfly footprints of honey which flap into air. In the middle of Eden stands a large ancient balance scale made from mint light. There is a throne on each of the two plates of the balance scale. The lady and her man sit on a throne each. Handel's sarabande begins to play. They know the scales will tell them how balanced they are in their compatibility for marriage. The weighing begins. Who is more attractive? The scale tips in her favor. On understanding each other, they are equal. Wisdom, her. Intelligence, him. And temperament, they are equal. He is satisfied. Her man rises, walks to the western part of Eden, and enters the secret place called the Birds of Intuition Orchard. In this place, songbirds fly about. Each bird has a compass on their backs to confirm whether she is the right match for him. Nightingales and skylarks sing as the voices of his friends, his family, and his conscience. Some sing, "Get a better girl." Others lullaby, "She's not like your ex." One or two birds chirp, "She's good for you," whilst another whistles, "Her mum makes potions." He stands in the whirlwind of this fluttering confusion. And so, he closes his eyes and descends into himself. And then he hears it. The single light voice of a dove, nodding towards his girl with a smile. Satisfied. He is satisfied. He leaves the Birds of Intuition Orchard and re-enters the center of Eden. He sees his girl standing underneath the apple tree. She is weeping with joy. Just then, an apple falls on her head. It knocks her into a deep slumber while she stands. From her chest, an emerald apple blossoms forth from her heart. He looks at it. He can know with one bite of the apple if she truly loves him. With one bite, he can answer this question: will their love wither at their first challenge in marriage? Is this all an act so that she may marry before 30? Or does she truly love him? Suddenly, he grasps the apple and rushes it towards his mouth. But he stops. Before biting into it, he stops. He looks at her as she stands there in her slumbering stance. He remembers all she has done for him, even when she didn't need to. He kisses the apple and he surrenders it back into her chest. This act restores her to life. "I trust you," he says. Part 6. Was he the one? She desired to know. She stands in a blue purgatory formed from the horizon of a doe's waking eyelids. Only the sun is in the air, But look closer, because written in eclipse upon the sun is her criteria for the perfect man. There's a table to her left. It has a banknote on it. The banknote reads, "I promise to tell the bearer of this note on demand the sum of their heart's desire. Raise me to the sun." She obeys and raises the banknote to the sun. And then she gasps. The face of her ex shines in its hologram, and the sum of his wealth is on the corner of the note. Then she turns over the banknote. At the sight of what she sees, she throws it away and trembles. She had seen her fiancé's face on the note. The pennies of his wealth were also written in the corner. Just then, there's a flash of light. The sun's rays rain down and reflect off the illustration box of the banknote. It projects a live mirage of her heart's desire around her like a holographic cinema of light. Beethoven's Fifth Symphony can be heard as the projection plays around her. Her ex stands before her. His intense gaze captures her into memories. He speaks, "I'm contaminated by your beauty." These words reconfigure the DNA of her appearance within the mirror of her self-esteem. She feels beautiful, desired, wanted. A double bed appears to her left and a single bed to her right. Her ex's eyes are engaged to hers as he takes her by the hand and leads her to the double bed. In that moment, her fiancé appears on the single bed to her right. He asks her over with his grin. She hesitates and turns back to her ex. His mattress beats a flush with her own pulse. The shores of the sheets are scented with the words, "Lay with me." She knows not that under the bed lies an upside-down vision of a future with her ex. Her, alone and abandoned, with 4 children and no money. The bed's gold frame is sculptured with his affairs. And so, she glances to her right, but her fiancé is gone. There was no choice anymore, just where her heart was. Stuck. Part 7. To wilt or not to wilt? The fiancé or the ex ask the 7 Valentines flowers of her bouquet. These rainbow-coloured flowers mellow to indigo in sorrow. Each petal falls to the rhythm of the piano notes of Saatchi's Gemopones. Our lady who had received this bouquet ponders on July's breakup with her fiancé. No call, no message. Does he even daydream about me? She asks. Suddenly, tears of light come flooding through the transparent cornea of the window. The sunlight cries onto the 7 flowers on the windowsill, and she can now see into his daydreams. Her former fiancé sits alone. Forgetting his former fiancée, he daydreams of the great man he will become, the orphanages he will build, the children he will sponsor in their schooling, the hospitalized elderly he will visit in place of their estranged children. But although he ignores her during the day, at night he sleeps and dreams her daydreams and not his own. In her dreams, she repeatedly rejects her ex's advances, all his compliments, and his tickets to her favourite concerts. After she rejects all these attempts, her ex clasps her hand and tries to pull her in with strong eye contact to seduce a kiss. But she snaps her hand away. her desire to be with her former fiancé comes to walk her away from every temptation. But in her dreams, the following night, she now continues to reject her ex's talk, his endless apologies, his infinite requests asking her to forgive him, his endless claims to have changed. With each word from her ex's mouth, she imagines her former fiancé covering her ears with his hands. This always gives her the strength to walk away. And then, she starts to struggle against her own thoughts. She remembers her favourite moments with her ex. Then she thinks to herself, maybe I should go back to him. Who else is there? He's never made this kind of effort before. Maybe he really has changed. Then the thoughts become more amorous. And only then, she finally understands. She turns and confronts her ex head on. Look, I want him, I don't love you. And she flees. After this dream, her former fiancé instantly wakes. His heart is hula hooping around his chest. And his daydreams of that day are only of her. But why hasn't she come to fix this, he asks himself. But she was running to his door, for she too had seen his daydream. Part 8. And he opens the door to her. I don't need money. I would sign at registry to be with you, she says. You have done things for me no one else could, so I will believe in you and who you will become. They reconcile. Months in the calendar flip by. And finally, it is time for their wedding. Picture this. It is night, pure night. 7 portraits, each in the shape of a butterfly, blink open in the sky. Within each butterfly portrait above, images of their previous 7 experiences of love leading to this moment's play. The moon above spins on vinyl. Its violet rays transfigure into music notes, with treble and bass clefs at their tips. The musical rays symphony the night as they play Debussy's Clair de Lune. As each note sails down the moon's rays, they land where they form sculptures of instruments made from the essence of violet light. On this canopy of violet moonlight rays, musical triangles hang from each ray like tree swings. The children of the wedding guests will sit on them to watch the wedding. On the ground below are rows of different instruments for seating. There are lines of timpani drum stools, which pathway into bass clarinets of light for seating. As guests sit on these instruments, their affections for the bride and groom personalize into unique melodies. Together, the melodies perform a bespoke symphony to later play from the bride's musical wedding ring. Finally, the bride strides out. Her gown is arranged of alive butterflies. They fly out and switch positions back onto her body to form various dress colours and patterns. Her wedding dress's train is also made of flapping butterflies which spray out caramel love on guests as she walks to her groom. She carries the original 7-flowered bouquet in a chrysalis. It shrinks to the size of a caterpillar and crawls to the top of her ring finger. The red and violet flowers wrap around her finger as a ring. The remaining 5 flowers shine chocolate light from the chrysalis on top of her finger. And all this after the words, I, Sarah, do take, and I, Daniel, do promise, forever. Fini. The work of the Tailor of Love has ended. A StoryDoves Romantics production.